once. If you just slow down, I can be Mr. Right. You're done searching for the rest of your life. You don't gotta wait no longer. You don't have to explain for the way you feel. I'll take you as you are. I'll show you something real. Fall in love with Mr. Unforgettable. Take your time on me. I'll be the best you ever had. Fall in love with Mr. Unforgettable. Take your time on me. I'll be the best you ever had. For that light, if you blink, love will pass you right by. I'm someone to take you by surprise. So come on and take this heart of mine. Oh, alright. You don't have to explain for the way you feel. I'll take you as you are. I'll show you something real. Fall in love with Mr. Unforgettable. Take your time on me. I'll be the best you ever had. Fall in love with Mr. Unforgettable. Take your time on me. I'll be the best you ever had. It's so easy to sleep. It's so easy to dream in my arms tonight. I just can't take it no more. I need you back in my door. I need you back in my arms tonight. Fall in love with Mr. Unforgettable. Take your time on me. Fall in love with Mr. Unforgettable. Take your time on me. Fall in love with Mr. Unforgettable. Take your time on me. I'll be the best you ever had. Fall in love.
Man, oh man, does it feel good to be back? Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Geely, and this is Next Point Wins. First episode of Season 2. I'm excited to be back. I hope all you students are also excited to be back. Have a fun show planned for today. Hope everybody had a fantastic summer and a very successful and fun syllabus week. I want to start the show by giving a special shout out to Aunt Em and Uncle Kev in San Antonio. Thanks for listening in. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Exciting show planned for today as we have our first musical guest making an appearance on Next Point Wins. His name is Jay Putty, and he will be joining us in the turntable in just a little while. Jay is a singer-songwriter from Nashville, Tennessee. He moved to Nashville from Evansville, Indiana, just a couple years ago, and we'll hear more about that and other things later on. That opening song that you just heard to start out the show today, that is one of his. It's called Mr. Unforgettable. You can listen to it on SoundCloud and Spotify. That you can also look on YouTube, and that's where you'll find all of his music. And throughout the show, we're going to play more of his music during the breaks and after the interview, just so you guys can get a taste on one of Nashville's next up-and-coming artists. He's yet to sign at the label, but it sounds like that he's in talks and could be breaking onto the stage any moment. You can contact the show at nextptwins@gmail.com. You can also vote on the poll question of the day. You can find that on my Twitter page. That's Matt_Geely, Gigli. So the question for the day is, would you rather be a popular singer of any genre you want or a popular professional athlete in any sport you want? That's kind of playing off of our guest today, Jay. I'll give you my answer to that poll question, and we'll read the results later in the show. I want to start off the show today talking about one of the bigger talking points of the weekend, and it's been kind of filling up our summer, and that is the Mayweather-McGregor fight. That comes to you Saturday night, so tomorrow night, and I have quite a bit of, I would say, opinions on the matter. I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty negative towards the whole thing, but I'm going to try to give you kind of both sides of it and everything that I think matters when it comes to this fight. Let me start off by saying that I did not think this fight would ever happen. When they were first talking about it, I was on the side of there's no way they can get this done. There's no way Mayweather will agree with it. There's no way they'll both come to the same terms. And then about halfway through the discussion back and forth, it kind of hit me, and I thought to myself, this is going to happen because like we've seen in all of Mayweather's fights and other fights and in UFC and boxing, the boxing world, you follow the money. Wherever the money leads you, that's where we're going to go. And there's so much money involved in this fight that it hit me. I was like, this is going to happen because they're just going to follow the money there. Let me start off by playing Party Pooper and say that this fight shouldn't happen. This shouldn't be allowed. This shouldn't be sanctioned. The fact that this fight was passed and able to happen is insane. McGregor seriously has a puncher's chance, and that's it. And for anybody who doesn't know what a puncher's chance is, it's basically the idea that when two guys step in a fight, whether it's sanctioned or not, in a ring, out in the street, in a bar, whatever, you can't say that this guy automatically is going to win because there's a puncher's chance for the other guy, meaning that in that split second, for that one moment, he could land the punch that ends it. Okay, and I'll give McGregor that because you can't take that away from him. Now, other than that, there is absolutely no chance Conor McGregor beats Floyd Mayweather. Zero chance. Look at it this way. You're taking a guy who, I don't care if he has a fighting background or not, it's MMA. It's so different than boxing. So different. You're taking a guy who does MMA and putting him in the ring with one of the best boxers of all time, and in my opinion, not even an argument, the best defensive boxer of all time. And you want him to train for less than a year and expect him to be able to hang with and stay with Mayweather is beyond stupid. And I'm going to be honest, we're all going to get ripped off on Saturday night. If you watch this fight, you will be ripped off because there's two things that are going to happen. It's going to go the distance. It's going to be super boring, and Mayweather's going to win, or Mayweather is going to put him through the mat, and it's going to be over. And that could happen in the first round, second round, third round. It doesn't matter. It's going to end. Let me give you my solution because, I'm sure a lot of you have heard takes like this, similar to this. I sure have as well. Let me give you my solution because it's one thing to say that this is stupid and it shouldn't happen, and it's another thing to give an alternate route that this could have went and what it should have been. Now, take this fight and change the rules. Let's say, I know this is all hypothetical, but it truly could have happened. If Mayweather was ever dumb enough to agree, this could have been what happened. First 5 rounds, we box. After the end of that 5th round, it switches to MMA. Now, I understand that Mayweather would never agree with that because basically you're saying, Mayweather, you got 5 rounds to knock him out. If you can't knock him out in 5 rounds, you're going to get destroyed because now we're going to the ground and McGregor could literally kill you. And he would never agree with that, and none of us should blame him for not wanting to agree with that. It's like saying to an MMA guy to step in the ring and box. Never should somebody agree with that, but McGregor is so crazy and stupid enough that he did. And you follow the money. So, that's not the rules. The rules are as simple as it can be put. It's boxing throughout. And the fact that normally when Mayweather fights, he dictates every rule of the fight. Weight, glove size, everything. Just the fact that earlier this week, Mayweather was like, I don't care what size of gloves he wears or how heavy they are. The fact that he doesn't even care just shows how much of a disadvantage McGregor's going to be at. That where Mayweather's like, dude, you can come out and wear whatever you want. I don't really care. I'm still going to knock you out. And I totally agree, and I think it's going to happen. Where this is really interesting is McGregor is so crazy, and I feel like that his people who are going to be in his corner are so messed up in the head, just like it's a different breed of person. And there's nothing wrong with that, but with that comes a major responsibility for the referee to keep a close eye. Because this could easily go where Mayweather is destroying him to the point where he should be giving up, and he won't. I don't think McGregor will quit. And that's where the ref has got to step in and say, guys, this is over. This is done. Knockout, over. The ref has to be strong enough to do that because there's no way McGregor or his camp will surrender. And that's where things could get really dicey and really dangerous for Conor McGregor. I was watching one of their silly, tours where they were just going around and talking smack on the stage and getting people all riled up, which I get it. Once again, follow the money. It's getting people excited. You got Mayweather saying he's not in the shape he should be. You shouldn't listen to a word either of these two guys say about their shape, how good they are, or how bad they are. Because Mayweather literally has been talking about how he's not what he used to be, this and that. He's trying to get all of us invested. He's trying to make us all believe that he maybe can't beat Conor McGregor, and that's insane. He is going to smoke him. So you can't listen to what these two guys say. But there's one telling moment that I thought was the definition of what this fight's going to be. They were on the stage at one, I think it was in Vegas, and Mayweather said, I don't care if it's in the ring, in an octagon, I don't care what the rules are, I'll beat you. And McGregor turned to him and goes, that is the biggest piece of crap I've ever heard. There's no way you would get in UFC rules with me. And then he goes, why are we here then? Why are we doing it the way we are if you're so confident that you could beat me anyway? And that's the truth. Mayweather knows that he can't win UFC, and that's not a dig on Mayweather. He's not supposed to be able to. But for some reason, you look at it the other way and everybody's like, yeah, maybe Conor McGregor has a shot boxing. He does not. He does not. And I think that having 5 rounds of boxing and saying, you got to come up and be aggressive, Mayweather, and you better knock him out or else we're going UFC style, that would have been the perfect way to do this fight. And I would have paid triple. I would have paid $300 to watch that. Hands down. I wouldn't even think about it. It would be a no-brainer to me. And I think that there would be a lot of people like me who would also think that that's the way to go. Now, it's wrong to not think that there's so many angles. There's a race play in this, and you can't deny it. A white guy versus a black guy. It's that easy, and that's going to play in. We're seeing in Vegas, and the way the money to be made is on McGregor, and I get that because in order to win a decent amount of money for Mayweather, you have to put a lot of money down. So that's why the betting line is so close. There's no way that McGregor being 4-1. There's no way that's accurate, but everybody's putting money on him because that's where money could be made. You can't make money on Mayweather unless you put a lot down. The safe bet is a lot of money on Mayweather. The risky bet is a little money on McGregor. And I feel like that's pretty much that's what it boils down to in the fight. So I personally, like I said, I'm not going to watch it. I'll probably keep an eye on the card all night and Twitter and see what the reaction is. We'll dive into the results next Friday on Next Point Wins, but I'm gonna be honest. Who out there can raise their hand right now and say that they watched Mayweather Pacquiao? I'm sure a lot of us did. I sure did, and I was duped into that one too. That was the most boring fight I've ever seen, and that's because Mayweather is so good at defending. He is so good at taking his time and waiting, and he could do that with McGregor if he wants, and let this go out for 8 rounds or whatnot, or he can do what a professional boxer can do against somebody who's not a professional boxer and punch him in the jaw and put him on the mat. It's that simple. He literally can do either way, and he can do it however he wants. There's a prop bet going on in Vegas I saw that's like McGregor knocks out Mayweather in the first 3 rounds, and there's also Mayweather knocks out McGregor in the first 1 round or 2 rounds or 3 rounds. If McGregor does it, and he wins, and I this is like talking about unicorns in my mind. And you know what? I'll cut up every bit of this audio, and next week, if McGregor wins, I will eat my words, and we can do a whole segment on just me playing these predictions about how McGregor didn't stand a chance. I'll own up to it, but I am so confident that Mayweather could knock him out in the first round. But if McGregor does win, it would have to be early on. It's got to be in round 2 or 3. But I see this fight ending in 6. 6 rounds, total knockout, Mayweather. Ref stops the match. He's going to get some body shots in early on McGregor. McGregor's going to get a few punches. But there's a real possibility McGregor doesn't land a single punch, like a good punch. There's a strong possibility he doesn't touch Mayweather. And the fact that we're spending so much money and betting so much money on a fight where that is such a real possibility just shows how gullible of an audience we are. This has got the casual sports fans' attention. And that's exactly what MMA and boxing wanted to do. The UFC crowd is now invested in McGregor. The boxing crowd is now vested in Mayweather. You put those two together, and then you add the casual sports fan who's like, okay, those are 2 names I know. when you look at boxers right now, who can name another boxer or two or three? I don't even know if I can. Who can name another UFC fighter besides McGregor? Diaz, I guess. That's one. I think there's a Jones guy. That's two, maybe. See? So you take the two biggest faces of the sport and you put them together from each sport. Yeah, that's going to catch attention. It's like, I think a real analogy would be like taking LeBron and having him run routes or cover Odell Beckham Jr. So we all talk about how we think LeBron could play football, and that's been a growing talking point forever on how he could be a tight end or defensive back or safety and how he's so athletic and he could, if you put Odell Beckham Jr. on LeBron in football and have Odell run routes, I can guarantee you he's going to get past LeBron and probably score every time. It's not crazy to think that this is that much different. I know that there's some similarities between the two fighting styles, and I get it. But there's also some small similarities against basketball and football, and I get that. So I say that, and I know everybody out there is thinking, okay, that's crazy to think that LeBron would have to cover Odell. Okay, fine. But before this happened, we would have thought this was crazy. So who says that other things like this can't happen? Hope everybody enjoys the fight. If you go to fight parties, send your pictures to nextptwins@gmail.com or tweet them at me, and maybe they'll be featured on the next week's show, and we'll go from there. Hope everybody has fun watching it. I hope it's worth your money. I'm very doubtful of that. So I had a pretty good summer. I stayed home, didn't do a whole lot, went on a couple of vacations, got to go on a little Texas tour of Austin, San Antonio, and down to the Frio River for a little river float. That was probably the highlight of the summer. I worked, kind of hung out. Let me know the best thing you students did over the summer. Send them in. We'll feature the best ones on the show next week if we get any good ones. But it was funny. Every time a big sporting event happened, I was in like next point wins mode, so I would store it in my head, and I'd be like, oh, this could be on our show, and I'd be like, oh man, I'm not doing the show. So I definitely missed you guys. Hope you guys missed me just as much. And I guess the biggest part of the show that I missed is what we got going right now. It's our next segment. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
On Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Personal foul, number 15 on sportsmanlike conduct.
That's a horrible call!
Yep, that's right. Unsportsmanlike Conduct is back. And, of course, that beautiful audio that the Brainy Bunch put together is back as well. And you know what? Those guys had a nice summer. Kind of touched base with them. If you guys saw on YouTube, go check it out. I put up on our channel a little promo leading into the show today. You got a little glimpse of a couple of the members of the Brainy Bunch. We also had a little Eric the Roommate feature, Dirty Randy and the boys. We're going to hear from them later on in the show, as well as some fun things they got cooking up for us for later in the season. He has some music that he's going to throw my way, and his band and group have been creating for me. Today's going to be all Jay Putty, though, and if you're just joining us, he will be joining us in about 15 minutes from now. We'll have Nashville singer-songwriter Jay Putty on the show talking about his experiences and what's next for him as he makes his way onto the music stage and lands on the radio, probably in the very, very near future. So, yeah, Brainy Bunch had a fantastic summer. Dirty Randy did well. Eric the Roommate, Mitch from Indiana, not too bad. Mike from Huntertown, pretty good. So everybody's back for season 2. I didn't lose anybody. A couple of my divas were in contract negotiations with me, but we got that all squared away. So the gang's all here, and let's go right into Unsportsmanlike Conduct. I don't know if you guys saw it last night, but in my opinion, what's going to be better than the fight tomorrow was the beautiful brawl we had in the MLB between the Yankees and the Tigers. And my Unsportsmanlike Conduct is very specific because it's a growing problem in the MLB that needs to be fixed. So let me kind of give you the background of what happened last night so you might have a little bit of a taste of what's going on. Gary Sanchez, one of the hottest catchers in the MLB right now, at the plate, hit another home run last night. And his next at bat after hitting that home run, he was pegged in the side by Matt Fulmer, the pitcher of the Tigers, and it was pretty blatantly obvious that he was throwing at him. And let me just stop right there and give Matt Fulmer an unsportsmanlike conduct, because this is where there's a growing problem in the MLB, where guys are hitting homers, and because they're doing their job and doing their job well, they're getting hit. And it makes no sense. One of my favorite MLB broadcasters, Kevin Millar, he's on the MLB Network, and he does intentional talk. He once said, and I think this signifies it perfectly, he played for the '05 champs, the Boston Red Sox, so he's a former player. He always said that we don't hit homers, they throw them. And I think it's funny, and he's kind of giving a dig at the pitchers, but it's also very true. So just because Gary Sanchez does his job correctly, I don't think that exactly means that he deserves to get hit. So he jogged down to first base, and nothing really happened. And then it got real, as Miguel Cabrera, the face of the franchise for the Tigers, steps up to the plate a couple innings later, and one gets thrown behind him. Doesn't hit him, but it gets thrown behind him. And immediately, here's unsportsmanlike conduct number 2, the umpire gets up out of its stance and throws out the Yankee pitcher. Now, why in the world does he get ejected? His player, his teammate, got hit for hitting a homer, doing his job. So he retaliates, throws behind, doesn't even hit him. He went waist high where you're supposed to hit somebody, trying to go for the back, which is the right way to do it. He goes to hit him and can't do it. So he gets ejected. Well, now we have a problem, because as he's getting ejected, manager of the Yankees, Joe Girardi, comes trotting out. He starts yelling at the ump, going back and forth. He gets thrown out. So now we got 2 guys thrown out. And while this is all happening, and this is interesting because Gary Sanchez, as I mentioned, is the catcher of the Yankees. So he's behind home plate, jawing at Miguel Cabrera, who just almost got hit for the Tigers. Next thing you know, Cabrera gives him a shove. He takes 2 pathetic slap punch attempts at Sanchez. Hey, Miguel Cabrera, have you ever thrown a punch in your life? That was pathetic. He misses, doesn't hit a single one. Sanchez then goes, so Cabrera goes Mayweather, goes for the punches, not very successful. So Sanchez goes, okay, I'll be McGregor. I'm going to tackle you to the ground and start hitting you in the kidneys. Pretty fun to watch. Well, at that point, bench is clear, brawl happening. Number 24 for the Yankees, I should look this up because I don't know who it is, but he was like the only one who got a good punch on the Tigers. It is Sanchez. Okay, Sanchez. Okay. I didn't know he was number 24. Well, Sanchez, after tackling Cabrera to the ground, he then finds his way to his feet as there's just people coming in from everywhere, and it's a pile and scrum, and it's your typical baseball fight, shoving, pushing, grabbing. And then you see Sanchez getting a couple really nice punches in on Cabrera. That's going to probably get him suspended for a good 5 to 10 games. So he'll be out for a while. But that all goes down. And next thing you know, the bullpen's clear, and that's the best part. I don't know if you guys, I'm a big MLB Brawl fan because I think it's funny. A lot of them nothing comes of it. But when there's one at home plate and those guys are out in the outfield in the bullpens, that's a long run. And you see David Robinson, new reliever for the Yankees, just coming hauling in. He gets in, he's going so fast trying to get in that he's totally out of breath and doesn't even factor into the fight, which, I don't know, I found that to be hysterical. But definitely, Miguel Cabrera, you're getting unsportsmanlike conduct for your pathetic punches, and also the umpire gets one for throwing out somebody who didn't deserve it. And there's a couple more plunks later in the game, and it got ugly, and I don't know if there's going to be anything. It's Friday, so I think I don't know if that was the first game of the series or the last. I would guess that was the last of the series. So we probably won't see those two face each other for a while. But that's our first unsportsmanlike conduct. Next one, it comes to us from Bears head coach John Fox. So of the Chicago Bears, John Fox. Bears drafted a running back. His name was Tariq Cohen. And shout out to one of my Brainy Bunch members, Mike in Huntertown, for finding this one for me. Tariq Cohen, he's a running back. He's the smallest player on the Bears roster. He's listed at 5'6", 179. He was drafted, I think, to try to fill like maybe a Darren Sproles type body and play style. Anyways, head coach John Fox was quoted, and this is what he said about the small running back Tariq Cohen. You can't always judge a book by its cover, whether it's in his underwear or now in pads. He's very explosive. He is elusive. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like I need to go take a shower. Super uncomfortable. So definitely something you shouldn't be saying. For sure, say less, I would say, Fox. I understand that maybe that wasn't your point, but I'm just going to read it again because I think we all should kind of hang out in how uncomfortable this is. You can't judge a book by its cover, which is a great cliche. And then he goes on, whether it's in his underwear or now in pads. Okay, this is where we have the problem. That is weird. I don't think you should be judging anyone in their underwear. And then we're just going to go another step weirder and say he's very explosive. Could you elaborate? Explosive how? Are we talking... Well, I guess I don't know what we're talking about, but we should probably be a little bit more clear on our intentions, John Fox. And you're going to get on sportsmanlike conduct for that horrible quote. Horrible quote. Is that one of those things where you say it and then you're like, oh, that could be taken the wrong way later? Maybe. I would think so. And our last unsportsmanlike conduct, and this is another biggie. It's pretty negative. I don't know. I'm trying not to be so negative on the show today, but just there's a lot going on that's bothering me. And this one is extremely bothersome because I'm on record. I should have brought back the clip from last year's show, and maybe I will next week. I'm on record saying that I think Colin Kaepernick will be signed by an NFL team before the year starts, and I'm standing by that. But this whole boycott stuff that's going on in New York City, if you're not aware, over 1,000, I guess you could call them fans. I don't know. We'll call them people. 1,000 people were outside of the NFL office in New York City boycotting the fact that Colin Kaepernick hasn't been signed by an NFL team yet and put on an NFL roster. Here's the problems, and here's why it's unsportsmanlike conduct. Let me begin by saying if you want to protest, you can protest whatever you want. Don't care. It's fine. You do you. That's cool. But a boycott is stupid, and it shows a complete lack of knowledge of the situation. Because what do you want? First off, what are you boycotting? Because no one knows. No, is that just a word is that just a trigger word we're throwing around, or is it truly a boycott in one sense or another? I don't know. Secondly, and most importantly, what do you want Roger Goodell to do? Do you want him to go to a team and say, sign Colin Kaepernick? Because you can't do that. You can't, sure he could, but it turns into almost like a dictatorship. We can't have the league president going around and forcing teams to sign players. That is completely up to the GM, coach, and owner of the teams. So you can stand out there and protest and boycott all you want, but I don't know what you want him to do. Secondly, Colin Kaepernick, this one goes straight to you. Speak up. Say something. Something. I don't care what you say, but you cannot be silent while this is going on. You are so quick to talk and to raise awareness, which is fine. And you have the right to say and do whatever you want, and I get that, and that's perfectly fine. But now is the time to use the platform that you created and say something. Personally, I don't think he wants to play football. I don't think that he wants to be on a team. Because look at it this way. He is an activist, which is fine. But him being an activist, there's two ways this goes down. One, he gets signed by a team. Two, he does not. Now, let's look at it from an activist point of view. If I don't get signed by a team, people continue to talk about me and stand up for what I believe in and what other people believe in and protesting, and I play the martyr because I can't get signed and boo-hoo me, but I'm raising awareness. That's fine. If that's the way you want to roll, that's perfectly okay. And then there's the other side where I get signed by a team. What happens when I get signed by a team if I'm Colin Kaepernick? Nobody cares anymore. The protesting stops. No one follows how he does. No one is a Colin Kaepernick fan. They are a fan of what he believes in, and that's why there's 1,000 people outside of the office protesting, and that is A-okay. So, if I'm Colin Kaepernick and I get signed by a team, no one talks about me, all my issues go away. Now I got players in the NFL who are doing the movement, kneeling, holding their fists up in the air, whatever, that I started. So, am I going to go to a team and say, hey, I'm done with all that. I'm ready to play football. I want to play football. Here we go. Then what? What do all these other guys think that they're continuing your movement? What do they do? I truly don't know. And that's where I think it gets super confusing, because I think that if he wanted to play football, he'd be signed by now. He could easily put all this to rest and say, I'm ready to play football. I want to be on a football team. I'll be a backup, whatever, and put it all to rest. I truly don't think that's what he wants to do, and that's why he won't speak up. So the choice is his. He's choosing to stay quiet and refuse to get signed. And when I say refuse to get signed, I mean that in his current stance, no one will sign him. Because why would you want a backup on your team who's going to cause problems? This is a business. No matter what you want to think about it, the NFL and these teams are a business. You see people who are beloved by fans get cut, traded, and retire. And then you see people who fans don't like stick around because they're good for the team, their contract's good for the owner, for the GM, whatever. It's a business. That's what the NFL is. So if I'm a business owner, why would I bring in somebody who, first off, I don't think he's good enough to be a starting quarterback to begin with, so he's going to be a backup wherever he goes. Where do I see him possibly landing? I thought Indianapolis could have been an opportunity with Andrew Luck and his shoulder, not really knowing the stance on that. Shoulder injuries are tough. I personally had a shoulder injury, and I can't even imagine throwing a football. And every shoulder is different, and I get that. But the fact that we've heard almost nothing and we don't know his status should scare Colts fans with the season right around the corner. So I thought Indianapolis could have been an option. Baltimore brought him in, which was good for them. They talked to him, and then they said no. And why did they say no? I guess we don't really know. I thought it was mostly based on fan reaction, and it sounded like the GM and the coach were in, but the owner was not. That's just what I've been hearing. I don't know that for sure. But nonetheless, it didn't happen. Seattle, I thought that'd be a decent landing spot for him because they're all about say whatever you want, do whatever you want, open to everything. So I thought he could fit in great there, but they seem to be really quiet and sticking back and saying no thanks. So if he wants to be signed, it's possible, but you need to say you want to play football. And if you don't want to be signed and if you want to continue your movement and continue being an activist, that's fine too. And it's completely up to him. So we shouldn't feel bad for Colin Kaepernick. Let's start there. And we shouldn't be giving him the martyr card that he has because he is choosing his own path. And with what you choose comes the responsibility of it and the reaction of it. And that's okay. You know what you sign up for. It might not always be right, but that's the way it is. There's our 3 unsportsmanlike conducts for a day.
An unsportsmanlike conduct.
Personal foul, number 15, unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's a horrible call!
So there's unsportsmanlike conduct. And with that, we're going to go right in and make some room for Jay Putty. Jay, as I mentioned earlier in the show, singer-songwriter out of Nashville, Tennessee, originally born and raised in Evansville, Indiana. I sat down with Jay last night and conducted this interview just because due to our schedules and the way they lined up, he was unable to join us live on the show. So I recorded our interview, and I'm going to play it for you now. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Here he is, Jay Putty. Happy to be joined here by Nashville singer-songwriter Jay Putty. Jay, thanks again for taking the time to be on the show. And now I know that you grew up in Evansville, Indiana, huh? But moved. When did you move to Nashville?
Yeah, I did. I was born and raised in Southern Indiana.
When did you make that move to Nashville?
Probably about 2 years ago now.
2 years. And was that because of your career, or just needed a change of pace?
Well, it's kind of a little bit of both. So about 2 or so years ago, I actually was pretty prominent in the pop scene. I opened for like Austin Mahone, Aaron Carter. I've done some stuff with like Warped Tour and all that. And I kind of got burnt out. I was in LA for a little while, and it really bummed me out. It burned me out on everything pop. And I was actually opening a show in Indianapolis for the lead singer of Under Oath and the Academy Is. They were doing like an acoustic tour, and I got discovered by one of my, it's now my old manager, and she was like, man, you have some really good songs, but they don't really seem like they fit pop music that much. It seems more country. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I could use a change of pace, and ended up going down to Nashville, loving it, moved there, and that's where I've been.
Nice, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because it's your music is so different. It kind of has a little country feel to it, but it also still has that pop little taste. I think that's what makes you so special and different. Now, you have a new song out, as far as I know, called All I Need to Know.
Yeah.
So what was your inspiration for that song?
So it actually came from a pretty funny story. My buddy Jacob Murphy, who actually used to be in a band I was in together, we were actually writing a song for someone else. Like we actually, as a songwriter in Nashville and all that, and most writers, they tend to not only write for themselves, but try and like write songs for other artists. And I was actually working on a song for a completely different artist. I can't remember. It was like a bro country song.
Mm-hmm.
And we just weren't getting anywhere. We spent about 3.5 hours trying to write this song, and then I played this riff, and the verse riff, and Jacob goes, "Man, that's really cool. Let's try writing that." And I was like, "Well, I've had this idea for a little bit about like something like this," and just it came from just experience of wanting to just appreciate what you have in life, and it just 30 minutes after playing that riff, we got the song done.
Yeah, that's really cool. And when you write some of these songs, a lot of them have deeper meanings to them. Do you have specific people in mind when you're writing them, or is it just more of a general thought?
So I try and write. It's weird. I try and write in a general sense,
Mm-hmm.
but also I always like to. There's always random phrases and all that I like sprinkle in there from like real life experience. Like example, the bridge of that song, where it's like some people never get enough. Oh my God, I can't even remember the words of my song, but it's, but it's talking about get smoking on your profile views.
Right.
That actually came from an experience I had. There was I'm not going to say any names.
Yeah.
But there was someone from my hometown who ended up just really fast doing a viral video and did like one of those like YouTuber tours and all that. And it like he was a friend, and then he instantly was like, "Oh, well, I'm famous now. I did a viral video," and he just like turned into a jerk. And he kind of wronged me, and I kind of did a Taylor Swift. And I was like, you know what? You're going to get high off your profile views. You're going to just what are they going to do for you after it goes away? And that's kind of what happened. Is viral videos don't really last forever, and that was kind of like my little real life experience sprinkled in there.
Love it, love it. Kind of a fun question for you. If you could collaborate with any musician, who would you pick?
I have two because they're both like game changers for me.
Okay.
Actually, I lied. I have one, and I have one only.
All right, who is it?
Steve Perry from Journey.
Really?
He doesn't do music anymore.
Right.
He's one of the most iconic voices of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the greatest songwriters of all time. And the fact that he doesn't do music anymore makes me want to do a collaboration with him even more. It would have been either Ed Sheeran or John Mayer, but they're still doing music.
Right.
And I like to hold out hope that, just maybe I might be able to down the road no matter what. But Steve Perry doesn't do music anymore, doesn't want to. So if I could, it would be him.
That's very cool. Journey's a pretty popular still around here in Purdue. We love our Journey, so I'm sure we would all like to hear that as well. Did you know music was going to be your career path right out of high school?
So I didn't know it was going to be like my direct career path,
Mm-hmm.
but I always wanted it to. I started writing and like performing when I was like 13, and I went to college for like a week and dropped out. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do music because this all sucks, and I'm just going to do it. And I kind of told my parents, and they were really upset, but they're like, whatever, college will always be there. Like you might, if you crash and burn, you crash and burn.
Yeah, very cool. Well, if you're just joining us, we're joined here by Nashville singer-songwriter Jay Putty. And Jay, music singer in Nashville, personally, in my opinion, there's no better place to be that. You got any significant other at the moment, or you flying solo?
No, I do have a significant other, same one I've had for a little bit now. She's actually just got home from work herself, so she's eating right now. But
Very nice. Very nice.
Holding it down.
Looking back at your childhood, when did you know that you had this musical talent?
Oh, I feel like I still don't really have any musical ballad.
Oh.
I'm so stubborn that I refuse to give up on it. But I remember singing in Evansville they have something called like concert choir where like it's like the citywide choir. You kind of like audition for it, see if like you're good enough.
Sure.
I remember wanting to do that really, really bad, and my mom was just like, "Oh, don't get your hopes up and all that." None of my family has musical talent. They're like, don't do it and embarrass yourself because if people don't like it, they're gonna hurt your feelings and all that. And I ended up doing it, and they're like, "Hey, you can kind of sing." And my mom was like, "I'm actually sincerely shocked." And so I think that was like about when I realized that I might have a shred of musical ability.
Do you remember that first time you picked up a guitar?
Literally like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the best feelings of my life because it actually stemmed from a sad story. So I got my first guitar because when I was in 6th grade, I actually got attacked by the school bully, and I was terrified to go outside of my room. And that summer, my mom was like, "You know what, we're going to go to Walmart. You have $40 to spend, get whatever you want, but you're going to get it, and you're going to, like, enjoy yourself instead of being, like, sad in your room. Like, you're 12 years old, you can't sit there and be sad." Well, Walmart had one of those, like, $20 first act guitars, and I was like, "Mom, you said I can get anything with this $40, so I'm going to get this." She's like, "You're just going to pick it up and put it back down." I'm like, "No, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to learn how to play it." And I picked it up, and I haven't put it down yet.
Wow, that's a really, really cool story. You know, I've heard now I can say definitely I've heard all of your songs on Spotify, and you even did some covers early on that are up there. Other than that, do you write all your songs by yourself?
Not by myself. I have some that I write by myself, but I always write with friends. Just because growing up playing in bands, I always wrote with friends, and those are some of my best memories. And I love getting in with a writer that I don't know, or like a friend I've had for a while, and we write a song and it sounds good. That's the beauty of Nashville. Is like co-writing is such a big deal and a big thing that it's just kind of like getting together and being like, "Hey, you guys want to like drink a little bit and maybe write a song?" It's beautiful.
Yeah. Did you play any sports when you were younger?
Oh yeah, I used to play baseball and I wrestled a little bit. Baseball was my number one passion.
Do you have a favorite baseball team?
Oh, favorite Cardinals, hands down.
Yeah. Really cool.
All time.
Yeah.
Ever since I went to my first Cardinals game when I was 6 months old. My mom and dad took me right after I was born.
Really? That's cool. Very cool. So, what's up next for you and your career? Should we be expecting some new songs or an album, or what do you got cooking? Anything you can share?
Yeah, I have a little bit I can share. Some stuff I can't. I actually, man, last night was probably the weirdest thing. I had a meeting with a publisher, and he offered me to pitch to legitimately one of the most iconic artists of all time. I can't say who it is.
Okay.
But her song is like the soundtrack of one of the biggest movies of all time. And they were like, "Yeah, we really like this song you wrote. Would you mind pitching this to her?" And I was like, "That's so random." But besides that, I probably have close to about 60 songs done and recorded. I have a few I really, really am passionate about. One I already know is going to be the next single. It's called War Paint, and I'm really, really excited about that one. I don't have a release date yet, but we are starting to film the music video for it. But besides that, whittling down all these songs I'm writing all the time and recording not just for me but other artists, and trying to set time to balance between, real life and music life and all in between.
Yeah. Well, you can listen to his music on Spotify and YouTube. Is there anywhere else that they should be going to check you out, or are those the two main ones?
Yeah, the usual, Spotify, YouTube. If you rip my music, I really don't care. Like, if you do, like, the MP3, like, the MP3 converter?
Yeah,
I just believe good music should be heard, and we're such a culture of, like, consuming that I would rather than rip the song for free, like me as an artist, than come hang out with me at a show, than hope they spend 99 cents. Like,
yep.
The music's everywhere. It's however you want to get it. If you want to
Yeah, well, I like that. That's a really refreshing take on it. Is there anything else in particular you want to promote?
Man, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I don't have much else. I'm a pretty boring person.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Guys, go check out All I Need to Know and his other songs on YouTube and Spotify, and I guess we'll keep our eye out for Warpaint, as it sounds like it's on the horizon.
Yes, sir. Hey, Matt, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yep, have a great night. Thank you.
You too, bud. Thank you.
Yep, bye. So there he is, Jay Putty, and what a great interview. We're going to take it to break here, and when we come back, we will close up shop, and here's another one of his songs, and the one that we mentioned, it's his new single. Go check it out on YouTube and Spotify. It's called All I Need to Know. Here he is, Jay Putty.
I've got the open road, I've got somewhere to go. That's a place that I call home, and that's all I need to know. I've got blue skies and nothing but time, sunshine and 75, a pretty girl on the shotgun side, and that's all I need to know. Yeah, that's all I need to know. Everything you need, I already got it. Anything you don't, I don't even want it. You can't put no price tag on it, on it, on it. Ooh, she's got my heart going supersonic. Doesn't need gold for me to flaunt it. Best things in life are homegrown, and that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. I like my beer on ice, going out on a Friday night, doing the work week right, and that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. Everything you need, I already got it. Everything you don't, I don't even want it. You can't put no price tag on it, on it, on it. Ooh, she's got my heart going supersonic. Doesn't need gold for me to flaunt it. Best things in life are homegrown, and that's all I need to know. Some people never get enough. Bells and whiskey don't impress me much. All the shiny shoes, hairdos, smoking on your profile views. In the end, what's it gonna do for you? All I need to know. Everything you need, I already got it. Everything you don't, I don't even want it. You can't put no price tag on it, on it. She's got my heart going supersonic. Doesn't need gold for me to flaunt it. Best things in life are homegrown, and that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
So there he is, Jay Putty. All I Need to Know. Welcome back here, Next Point Wins. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview as much as I did. Really cool guy, really nice guy. Thanks for coming on the show, Jay. And I know we're all going to really keep a close eye on what the future holds for you. Let's take a look at the poll question and check out the poll results. And the question was, would you rather be the most popular singer or athlete in your favored sport or genre, depending on which one you picked? And personally, before I read the results, I'm going to give you my take on it. I think I'd like to be the singer. I don't know. Athlete would be really cool, and you get to do a lot, but something about traveling the country, playing shows. I don't know. It just seems like the life. I can't think of anything better. And I'm in the minority, it looks like, as 57% of you say athlete over singer. So that's the poll question for today. It'll stay up all day long, so feel free, podcast listeners, to go to my Twitter page, Matt_Gili, and vote. That's Gigli on the poll question. Closing up shop here, preseason football. Odell Beckham Jr. getting hurt. I think he'll be back. It's not a serious injury, but serious enough to where I think we're all going to the NFL will take a closer look at the preseason, and I think that it will be shortened in the next year or so. I don't know if you can do like 2 games and then controlled scrimmage or 3 games, but I think we are getting to the point now where we'd rather see less preseason and maybe add another game. So you go 17 weeks of the NFL season and only play like 2 weeks of preseason. So it'll be interesting to see. Normally we get reaction after something like this happens when one of the top players in the league gets hurt in a meaningless game like the preseason. And I've watched a good amount of preseason football myself. I think it's fun to watch some of the worst teams in the NFL because they have the better rookies and players you want to see play. It's hard to tell who's good, who's not, because, I mean, you're playing against second and third stringers, but you're also playing with second and third stringers. So while it's tough to see, I think that coaches can still identify talent and see what they got. More local news. On Purdue campus, Team USA, the Purdue men's basketball team representing USA over in the World University Games. They go 4-0 in pool play. They won their last game last night. It was at 12:30 a.m. They've been playing early in the morning and late at night due to the time change. They've won all their games by a pretty decisive amount. They didn't really have any strong competition in their pool. They're one of 2 teams to come out of pool play undefeated. Germany was the other team, and we'll likely face them later on in the medal round. Next up for Purdue will be Israel, a pretty good team who had a good record out of pool play. That'll be Sunday at 3 a.m., I believe, local time. So look forward to that. And the Boilers, as they continue to represent Team USA, it's one of the rare situations where it doesn't matter who you root for in college basketball. If you don't root for Team USA, then are you really American? So Boiler up. Keep representing over there, boys. Playing well. Purdue soccer, back at home on Sunday. They split their home series 1-1 last week. They won their first game, and then they lost their second, so they're going to try to right the ship and get back in the win column. Volleyball started their season this morning. They always do like a little round-robin tournament here at Holloway Gymnasium in West Lafayette, Indiana. They beat Oral Roberts this morning 3-0. They swept them. That team is coming in ranked around the low top 25, 24, 23, if you look at different polls. So a very promising year for Purdue volleyball up ahead, and they get things going on the right foot this morning. Their next game, I think, is at 3 p.m. today, and then I know they play tomorrow as well. So if you're in the area looking for – they got air conditioning now, so first year with air conditioning in that gym, so it won't be 100 degrees when we're all in there. I'll be broadcasting quite a bit of their games on TV here coming up, and I'll be sure to give a heads up just in case anybody wants to hear my beautiful voice outside of Next Point Wins. We'll make that happen. So volleyball team off to a good start. And other big news of the week was the blockbuster trade in the NBA. Celtics getting Kyrie Irving, Cavs getting Isaiah Thomas, Crowder, and a big man, plus the Nets' first-round pick next year. You know, like in sports, sports are like trades. I guess what I'm trying to say is trades are like sports. There's a winner and a loser almost always. I think this is the closest we can get to a fair trade. When you look at it, Celtics weren't going to pay Isaiah Thomas at the end of the year. Why would you? He's got injury problems. He's getting a little older. So he was going to be off the market anyway. So you trade him and get some assets back, and you get one of the best point guards in the game, Kyrie Irving. Great move. Kyrie wanted out of Cleveland. He wanted out of Cleveland because he knows LeBron is leaving next year. I think we all can just about agree that that's going to happen. The only reason LeBron would stay would be if they win the title, I would say, or that Nets pick turns into the number 1 pick and it's a player that LeBron likes. But I don't know if he'll wait around that long to see it. I still think he's gone. I think that Cavs get better short term. Isaiah Thomas can do a lot of the same things Kyrie can. I think it makes him a little better defensively, but really that's a pretty even trade defensive-wise. Kyrie's horrible at defense. Isaiah has trouble guarding people too with his size, and the big man they got is horrendous on the defensive end. Nets pick will be interesting. If that can turn into a top 5 pick, it'll be closer to a fair trade. If that pick comes in around 7 or 8, I think the Cavs will regret what they did. But you had to get Kyrie out of there. You had to get him out of there before the season started because it just wasn't working. And I think the whole Kyrie-LeBron beef wasn't all that real. I think it was more LeBron gave Kyrie a heads up, hey, I'm gone after this season. Get out while you can. And Kyrie's like, okay, well, let's make it happen. And he went and tried to make it happen. Saw an interesting article from ESPN, and there's a game that I think it's a Virginia game, but one of their broadcasters, his name's Robert E. Lee, and he was supposed to broadcast the game. It's one of the first college football games of the year, and they took him off of it because just recently a bunch of statues had been getting covered up in that area, and one of them was a Robert Lee statue. So I think it was the ESPN trying to kind of get out in front of the fact that, that could be kind of a talking point or a meme or take away from the game. What's interesting is how did it get out? Somebody inside of ESPN had to have leaked this. I don't know. I haven't heard any names or positions or who it might have been, but somebody let this get out because I'm sure ESPN was hoping they could just change his game and no one would know about it and no one would care and it would be over with. But somehow it did get out and it kind of turned into a little bit of a big deal. Not sure why we care. I think it would have been fine if he did the game. I think it's fine that he doesn't. I don't see the problem either way. If he felt uncomfortable or felt like it was going to tarnish his name or his reputation as a broadcaster and he wanted out of it, fine. That's fair. Either way, I don't know how it got out or why. It seems like people cared too much about it, but this day and age, I feel like that happens quite often. So with that, let's close up shop here. Thanks again for everybody tuning in. Season 2, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your kids, tell your wife, tell whoever you can find, tell the random guy at the grocery store. You can find me on YouTube and SoundCloud. I'll be posting the podcast shortly after the conclusion of this show. I'm trying to work out a deal with Apple to get it on for all you iPhone users, the Podcast One and the podcast app on your phone, as well as on iTunes. Still in the process of making that happen. I also tried something new for the first time today, and if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to try to get this video up. I'm hoping it works. It's first time, so no promises, but I videoed myself doing this show. So if you listen/watch on YouTube, you might be able to see me and the turntable room. Got the record player right there in front of me. Got the soundboard. Got the records in the back. I don't know. Just thought maybe it's better than just seeing a photo. If I can get it to work, it'll be pretty cool. With that, we're going to end the show with one final song by Jay Putty. It's called I Just Want to Fall in Love. I hope you liked that interview today. I thought he was really a great guy. Everybody here at the show, the Brainy Bunch, we all thank him for coming on. Dirty Randy and the boys will be back next week with their bumper music as well as some new fun twist of some segments and songs. We'll bring back Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Send me any unsportsmanlike conducts you find throughout the week. Maybe we'll get some you problems back. There's a lot going on in the back room right now. It's kind of chaotic. I kind of keep peeking over my shoulder. Unfortunately, with the camera, you can't see over there behind the door what's going on. But people are running around. And once again, check out that promo video that I did for the show if you want a little behind the scenes of what our operation looks like. And that will be that. Everyone have a good weekend. We'll be right back here, same time and same place next week. WCCR Purdue on the Tuned In app if you want to listen live at noon. Podcast to follow at about 2 o'clock. Might get it up a little earlier today. We'll see. And one more story that kind of happened this week in the MLB was Dodgers pitcher Rich Hill. He found out that even though you throw a no-hitter, as he took a no-hitter through the 9th inning and came out for the 10th inning, if your team doesn't score any runs, well, you can still lose by a walk-off homer. And, well, the only reason why that was able to happen was because it was next point wins. Have a good weekend.
I'm